Despite the numerous reports, videos, images, words being said and written, Sony still refused to acknowledge that the PlayStation Slim is a thing. We all know it is, we all know it's going to be revealed at their Sony party thing, but they still refuse to acknowledge it because reasons. Regardless of that, however, we have more details on the PlayStation 4 Slim thanks to a new report from Let's Play Video Games who managed to get their hands on the new hardware. In fact, there's even a video that they've recorded, I'll put the link in the description below, that magically hasn't been taken down yet. Quick guys, watch it before it gets taken down. So let's talk details, shall we? Now, one of the things we have yet to really know any real sort of concrete information on is there any improvements inside the machine, like with the Xbox One S, and the answer seems to be no. The controller has been improved, it has a new light bar, sort of slim window on the front where you can see a light bar sort of indicator there rather than the big thing on the back. I'm sure it has that as well, but of course there's that indicator there, so perhaps you could use it for stealth games, be like, hey, it's red so you're seen or whatever. That actually will have more useful applications because of course you can't see what colour it is really because it's on the back of the controller. But other than that, there are no real improvements to the hardware other than of course the reduction in size and the smoothed off edges. It doesn't have HDR or 4K Blu-ray support. It is a basic PS4 model with no internal upgrades over the previous iteration, and it is not the Neo. Doesn't make games run better, doesn't upscale into 4K, doesn't upscale movies to 4K or anything like that. So there's no internal improvements like the Xbox One S has. It has a few minor changes to the outside. For example, the USB ports are more spread out on the front of the system, the power and eject buttons are clearly labelled, and the power button has a sort of line of LED lights which replace the old light strip. So we're not talking real practical interior improvements like with the Xbox One S, which might mean that the PS4 Slim has kind of lost out in comparison to the Xbox One S because of course, while the Xbox One S improvements aren't huge and world-changing and earth-shattering, they are still improvements, they are still reasons to buy one if you already have an Xbox One, other than, of course, the reduction of use of space. Now, of course, we should all wait for the official word from Sony before we get too het up about this, but this pretty much aligns with what we previously heard. We've had all sorts of leaks surrounding this console, but we've heard nothing of any improvements to the hardware itself inside the machine, so it does kind of line up with what's happening, and the fact that there's no indication on the front of the box that we've seen in the video, and of course previously in other leaks, does indicate that the PlayStation 4 Slim is intended to replace the current model. That's why it's not labelled Slim, because, well, they're idea is to phase out the old model and replace it with this one, which is why I guess you could argue they're not upgrading the interior hardware, because they're going to be like, hey, here's a new Slimline PS4 that's going to replace the old fat PS4, I guess kind of like they did with the PS3, and then of course there's going to be the Neo, which does have the improvement of hardware. That seems to be the strategy from Sony, judging from what we know now. Oh, and one last thing that I almost forgot to mention, it has been confirmed in this video that indeed there is no optical port on the PlayStation 4 Slim. And the one last improvement to the exterior of the console is there's a convenient sort of panel on the side that you can literally just pop off, and that's how you change out your hard drive in the interior of the PlayStation 4 Slim. So it is much easier to replace the hard drive with something beefier if you so desire. So instead of fighting around or anything like that, you literally just pop off this side panel, take out the original hard drive and then replace it. So the value proposition for this particular Slimline console pretty much hinges on a couple of things for me, and that being the price tag. And of course, again, any hardware improvements, but it doesn't seem to be the case, so the price tag is going to be key here. But again, if this is just a new model PS4 rather than something they're selling alongside the PS4, it kind of makes sense, I guess, but people are going to be comparing it to the Xbox One S, which does have improvements to the hardware. Although they're not shattering like the Scorpio is going to be, they are still improvements. So people are going to think, well, the Xbox One S has improvements to the hardware, why don't you? They're not really going to see it as like, oh, it's just a new PS4 when there's an Xbox One S on the market. So I'd love to hear some thoughts and opinions from you guys on the PlayStation 4 Slim. Again, there's not going to be any images or videos showing in this video because, well, I don't want to invite the wrath of Sony any more than I already have. But again, I will include the link in the description below to Laura's video, that is the journalist from Let's Play Video Games, where you can check it out before it gets taken down inevitably. Hopefully not, but we'll see. And yeah, give me your thoughts and opinions, guys. Let me know what's going on in that brain of yours. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.